Rupa Goswami is an important literary theoretician from the medieval period. He was a Vaishnavite, and the influence of Vaishnavite philosophy is quite apparent in many of the works that he wrote. He was born in Karnataka and his father's name was Kumara. He later migrated to Bengal, where he received a traditional Sanskrit education from the celebrated logicians. Then he entered the service of Nawab Hussain Shah as a private secretary. His encounter with the religious reformer Chaitanya prompted him to leave his political life altogether. Along with Sanatana, his elder brother, and later Jiva, the son of his younger brother, he eventually settled in Vrindavana, the legendary site of Krishna's childhood. And then he devoted himself to Vaishnava theology. We can undoubtedly say that Rupa was a leading theoretician of one of the most remarkable religious movements of early modern India. The striking aesthetic turn that he introduced in theology is very remarkable. In his works and those of Jiva, many of the complexities of rasa theory achieve their greatest intensification. Among his works, the most important ones are Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjwala Nilamani. His Ujjwala Nilamani is written in the form of Bhoja Sringara Prakasha. Jiva Goswami, the son of Rupa Goswami's brother, had written a commentary on Rupa Goswami's Ujjwala Nilamani. It's very interesting that the idea of these two theoreticians about the very ontology of rasa is very much related to that of Bhoja. While Bhoja argues that Sringara is the sole rasa, Rupa Goswami and Jiva Goswami along the same line argue that bhakti, the feeling that the devotees feel towards Krishna, is the sole primary aesthetic emotion. Also, their notion of rasa is very much close to the classical account of Bhatta Lollada that rasa is in the character. Their dramatic innovation was to re-evaluate who the character actually was. They argue that the term character is a very broad category which includes not only those who appear in the Bhagavata Purana as devotees of Krishna, but also the real world devotees. Here, the real life devotees are theologically envisioned as characters and at the same time actors in the drama of life staged by the God. They opine that we have the same attitude towards Krishna like his female attendants have, and we can even take on their identity. Rupa and Jiva were viewed by their disciples as incarnations of female attendants of Krishna's beloved Radha. The other works by Rupa Goswami include Danakeli Kautuka, Lalita Madhava, Ulkaliga Vallari, Nadaka Chandrika, and Rasamrita Shesha. Appaya Dikshita is undoubtedly one of the most important literary theoreticians from the medieval period. The writings on the wall of Kalakandeshwara temple in Adayapalayam, a village near Vellur in northern Tamil Nadu, celebrates Appaya Dikshita as a man of outstanding achievements. The inscription highlights Appaya's achievements and association with the Vellur-based king Chinnabomma. In the inscription, he is lauded as a great scholar who has resurrected Sri Kantha's commentary on the Brahma Sutra so as to fortify the Shiva school. He is also said to have taught Sri Kantha's commentary on Brahma Sutra and his own sub-commentary on it titled Shivarka Manidipika to a crowd of 500 scholars. The legend has it that Appaya authored around 108 books in various disciplines. Though it's obviously a rounded up figure, it is very much indicative of his immense productivity and great scholarship in various fields of knowledge. Three of this vast library of works are dedicated to poetics, and these works include Vritti Vartika, or the exposition of linguistic powers, Kuvalayananda, or the joy of water lily, and Chitra Mimamsa, or the investigation of the colorful. It is believed that the earliest of them was Vritti Vartika, or the exposition of linguistic powers. This work primarily explains and distinguishes between the denotative and figurative operations of poetic language. Although this work does much more than recapitulate the old arguments in the field, it has been generally considered the least influential of his contributions to the discipline of poetics. His second work, Kuvalayananda, which can be translated into English as The Joy of the Water Lily, is in fact a manual meant to familiarize the beginners in poetics with arthalankaras, or the ornaments of sense, one of the most basic subjects of the field. Although this work is of rather limited scope, Appaya's Kuvalayananda quickly became the most popular Alankara textbook in the subcontinent. It is significant that it is a status that it retains even today. Egal Brunner, in his article What is New and What is Navya, observes that Kuvalayananda became something like Alankara Shastra's #1 bestseller. The immense popularity of Kuvalayananda notwithstanding, Appaya's real contribution to the field of poetics is his unfinished magnum opus, Chitramimamsa, the investigation of the colorful. An important observation of Appaya in Chitramimamsa is about Upama. He observes that Upama is the substratum of all the Alankaras. He observes that the actress named Upama takes on various forms and dances in the world of poetry. Singhapubala was a king of a small principality in today's western Andhra Pradesh. His Rasarnava Sudhagara, or Moon on the Rasa Ocean, is in the main a treatise on dramaturgy. Aside from the vast amount of Sanskrit and Prakrit literature he cites, Singhapubala also shows himself to be a subtle and delightful reader of Sanskrit poetry and writer of Sanskrit prose. He has written a commentary titled Sangeeta Sudhagara on Sharngadeva Sangeeta Ratnakara. It is also believed that he has written a work titled Nadaka Paribhasha. He is primarily known in poetics for his work Rasarnava Sudhagara. Now, Vishweshwara Pandita is another major literary critic that we are going to see. Vishweshwara Pandita, in fact, lived in the 18th century. His works include Alankara Kaustuba, Rasa Chandrika, Kavindra Kanthabharana, Alankara Pradeepa, and Alankara Muktabali. Among these texts, the most important is Alankara Kaustuba, because this text mounts an attack on many of his predecessors and contemporaries like Appaya Dikshita and Jagannatha Pandita. Jagannatha holds an important position in Sanskrit poetics as the last literary theoretician to be celebrated across the Sanskrit cosmopolis. According to Pollock, Jagannatha marks a historical endpoint in a number of important ways. If it can be said that his ontogeny recapitulated the phylogeny of Sanskrit literary culture, this was probably the last such case. We know of no later poet who circumambulated the quarters of Sanskrit cosmopolitan space. Jagannatha was a scholar from what we now call Telangana. His father, Perubhatta, was also his teacher and mentor. A member of the court of Emperor Shah Jahan, Jagannatha was known in literary circles as the Emperor of Poets. He is believed to have received the title King of Scholars, or Pandita Raja, from the emperor himself. Along with the strong patronage of the emperor, he was also supported by many other princely houses for whom he often wrote prashastis or eulogies. He could also be viewed as an example of the cultural syncretism of the times, having married a Muslim woman and becoming an integral part of the Mughal courts. His most famous literary work is Bhamini Vilasa, or the Games of Beautiful Women. In many of his treatises on poetics, Jagannatha quotes from his work to illustrate the literary concepts that he was discussing. Rasa Gangadhara, his magnum opus in the field of literary theory, is often considered a curious mixture of modernity and tradition. In Rasa Gangadhara, Jagannatha effectively employed the framework of Vedanta philosophy to understand the literary categories. Unlike many of his contemporaries and predecessors such as Jiva Goswami, who invented a new rasa called Bhakti, Jagannatha was a thorough traditionalist.